Hi everyone and welcome in that series of tutorial about how to create a 2D platformer or 2D Metroidvania. We're gonna see in that series of video how to create a character that can move, jump, how we can create a breaking platform that's gonna break when our player gonna be on it. We're gonna create collectible and also we're gonna create spring. We're gonna create some hidden area where we're gonna be able to hide some stuff, and then we're gonna also create a lever that can triggers the opening of doors that can help us to go to other levels. So those videos are going to be released all throughout all this week, once every day. All the code and the process of how to make all those different objects that I'm going to show you how to do in that series of tutorials come from my first video game that is called Blackout, and that's going to be released soon on Android devices and iOS. And it's basically just a platformer made for mobile. It is kind of like Celeste, and so I will put the link in the description box below. So now we're gonna start doing the game now. Okay, so the first thing to do if you don't have Godot is to go to the website godotengine.org, link in the description box of this video, and you go to download and you make sure that you download the standard version, not the mono version, because we're not going to use C#, we're going to use the standard version. If you are on Linux or PC, you're gonna be okay if you when you're gonna open the Godot engine. But if you are on Mac, you're gonna have problems. And for that, there is a simple fix to do. Like basically, you go to your download folders, and you just click on Godot, and well, me it's in French here, but basically you click on open, and normally it's gonna make something, it's gonna say something like impossible to open, this kind of thing. So you go back there, you double click and you open again, and then it's gonna ask you if you want to open this, and you will be able to open it. Once you are in Godot, we're gonna create a new project. I'm gonna first go and pick a place to put my folders in. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna say 2D platformer tuts. Okay, I'm gonna select the current folders, and I'm gonna also open GLES.2.0, so like that it will work on like a less powerful device, and also it will be perfect for the web games. And we're gonna create an edit, sorry. And so when you are opening the Godot engine for the first time, you have this interface, which is like, this one is the 3D interface, but us, we're gonna use the 2D interface, and we're gonna create a node. So we're gonna start here, we're gonna call it level 1. And in that node, what we're gonna do is like, we're gonna create our player. For creating a player, we need to use a kinematic body 2D. So here it is. And that kinematic body 2D need two things. It needs a collision shape, 2D as well. And it needs a shape actually. So we're gonna use a new rectangle shape, and that's gonna be good. Now I'm gonna zoom because it's super tiny and it's just right here, and that's great. We need now graphism for our video game, and so I've made some that are right here. So I have a player with 4 different animations. It's gonna be an idle one, a run one, a jump one, and one is dead basically. And we're gonna have a floor, like we're gonna have a tile set of a floor that we're gonna use for making the floor of our game. So for that, I'm just gonna export the sprite sheet. I'm gonna go to my new folders, which is where it is. It is here, and we're gonna create this one, and so I'm gonna do the same here. I'm gonna export the sprite sheet, and I'm gonna go into the platform tuts, and I'm gonna put it there and export. And now if I go back to Godot, basically it has imported my my folders. When you are loading for the first time your stuff in Godot, you're gonna have this that it's gonna look blurry. So for that, there is a simple fix. You go here on import, you click on preset 2D pixel, and you re-import. We're gonna do the same for the floor as well, so like that it will be alright. And then we're gonna just do a simple thing which is set as default for texture, so like that we will not have to do it again. So now I'm just gonna go back on my scene. I'm gonna delete, no, I'm not gonna delete that actually. I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna click on my sprite sheet, which normally should not be in my collision shape, by the way. So I'm gonna put it right here, and so I'm just gonna put it just on top of the collision shape. Ah, fuck it. God damn you! Ah, work. No, fucking hell. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it right here. So it's good, it's not good. Voila, perfect. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is like I'm gonna go on animation, and here you have different things. So V frame stands for vertical frames, H frame obviously for horizontal, and here you have the frames, actual frame, and the coordinates. So like we have 6 column or 6 row, what we're gonna do is like we're gonna put 6 on the vertical axis, and we're gonna put 4 on the horizontal axis. And now we're just gonna put our collision shape on our character and just resize it a little bit. I'm not gonna make it cover the full character because I want to play a little bit with the collision shape. It's gonna be better for the game, particularly for the game feel. And so yeah, I'm just gonna put it like this, and it should be alright. Okay, so now that we have done that, we're gonna just do the same for the floor. First, I'm just gonna save the scene. I'm gonna create a folder, and I'm gonna call it scene. So like that, I will have everything there. That will be perfect. And so now we're gonna create our floor. And so we're gonna create the tile map. And so in Tilemap, we're gonna go here in tileSet. If you don't see here, if you don't see that menu, just go back, click on Tilemap, and just you will see it pop up. So on tileSet, we're gonna click on empty, new tileSet, and we're gonna re-click on tileSet again. And here we're gonna click on the plus icon, and we're gonna take our floor sprite sheet. We open it. I'm just gonna resize that a little bit. And so here we have our sprite sheet that appears. So what we're gonna do is like we're gonna click on new Autotile, and we're gonna select it, and we're gonna click on plus. And now I'm just gonna go here, and I'm just gonna select that region. And so I'm gonna go on snap option. I'm just gonna turn that 16 by 16. And I'm gonna do the same here. I'm gonna do 16 by 16 because my sprite sheet is made to be 16 pixel by 16 pixel. So like that, it will fit perfectly what I'm doing. And so now what we're gonna do is just we're gonna go on icon. We're gonna click on one of the tile that we're gonna set as an image for the icon of the tile map. So I'm just gonna be this one for me. And now we're gonna start the big stuff. So we're gonna go to collision. And in collision, when you click on collision, you have those little stuff that appears. So basically, we're gonna click on that square, and we're gonna not click on this one, but we're gonna double click on the next one. And so like this, it will create a collision shape. Basically, that's what's gonna happen. So you do it like this, you go back here, you click on the next one, and so on and so on. It's a little bit tedious for now. That's the only thing I found for making the process of making the game a bit easier. It's not too long, like in this case it's gonna take like a minute or something, but then after that you can do like you can save so much time by doing that. That's just crazy. You're gonna be able to create like level at the speed of light, which is great. Ah fuck, I've made a mistake, so I will go back here soon. I've made it again. So let's do it like this. Why is doing this? Okay, so like that. Voila. Why are you doing this? Goddamn. No. So when you have like a difference of color, you select your tiles and you erase it by clicking on the bin. Because if you have like different shades of yellow in this case, what's gonna happen is that basically you're gonna create like you're gonna superpose different tile, and it's not gonna be nice. So like you see, I've made another one here, so I'm gonna go back after I finish with that. Basically what it's gonna do is like it's gonna make your player like sort of getting a bit crazy and jittery when you're gonna pass on that specific tile. on the game. So we need to make sure that we doesn't have that. If you have something that looks like this, you just click on it, you remove it, and trust me, you're gonna make your life very easy. So now we're gonna just save it. So me it's Command S on Mac, but of course for you it's Control S on PC. We're gonna go on Bitmask, and on Bitmask what we're gonna do is like we're gonna go on the right, and we're gonna go here on Autotile, we're gonna go on Autotile, and here on Autotile Bitmask, we're gonna click on 3.3 minimal. Yes, okay, so now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna zoom a little bit more, and all the space that are empty, we're gonna paint it with those sort of red square. And those red square are very important because basically they say to Godot that this is a sort of I don't know how to say that in English. I think it's a sort of a marks that just is able to sort out the specific orders of the tile when you like painting them. And so like this you can create automatically some tile when you're just like how to say that going with your mouse. I don't know how to say it, sorry. But basically that's the thing. So we're gonna do it like this, we're gonna do it like this, we're gonna continue to paint here, we're gonna paint that here as well, and finally here. And when we have done that, we are saving. We are going back on Tilemap. I'm just gonna make sure that on cell I'm at 16 by 16. And normally, right now, I should have made everything the correct way. And so if I start to paint, I'm just gonna zoom the right way. And if I start to paint, normally it should generate automatically the tilemap. And as you can see, it is the case. So yeah, so now we can create a floor for our little player, so which is good. So I'm gonna do it like this. Voila. I'm just gonna zoom. Voila. And we're gonna continue a little bit just to make sure that he has everything needed. And so like that we're gonna have some room, and we're gonna finally code the movement. So let's say I'm gonna do it like this. And so you see, like that just make everything so easy. Just so great. I so much love Autotile. So cool. Voila. So okay, so now we have that, and so we're just gonna take our player, we're gonna click on that icon right here, and we're just gonna move it here. And so now if I launch the game for the first time, first I need to select a scene, which is going to be this one. I'm going to open it. And so now we have our scene, we have our floor, we have everything, but our player can't move. And so now we need to make it move. And for making it move, we need a code. And so for that, we're going to create a sprite. So we click on our kinematic body 2D. We're going to rename it, by the way, player. And we're gonna create. We're gonna click on that little paper sheet icon, and we're gonna create a script. The language is gonna be JavaScript. It inherits kinematic body 2D. Here is class name. This will be helpful stuff in the future, but for now, we don't use it. And we're just gonna make a change. We're gonna click here, and we're gonna go back. We're gonna create a folder, and we're gonna call it script. And we're gonna save our scripts in that folders. Create, and here it is. So now we have our first script, and so in that script we're gonna be in need of a variable and function to use those variables. So we're gonna create our first variable, and we're gonna call it speed, and we're gonna put it, we're gonna set it's equal to 500. We're gonna create another variable, it's gonna be gravity, and we're gonna say that it's likely to be around 380 pixel. We're gonna create another variable, it's gonna be velocity, and it's gonna be equal to vector2 dot 0. If you're completely brand new to programming, vector2 is the way we have to say to Godot that we're gonna move that player on two axes, the axis X and the axis Y. And that's how Godot knows that we are doing that. And for telling him that we're doing that, we need to put it into a variable. And so here I have called it velocity because it's easy, but you can call it as you want. You can call it sandwich if you want. That will work perfectly. So it will be just less understandable when you will read your code in some month. So now that we have that, what we can do is that we can start actually to create the input of our player. And for creating the input of our player, we're going to use a built-in function in Godot, which is called physics process delta. And here we're going to create a variable inside that function. We're going to call it movement underscore x. And again, here you can name it as you want. That's fine. And here we're going to say that input with a y, capital Y, dot get action strength. We're gonna say UI right, which is here, and this is basically making a reference to here in project setting your input map. So here you have everything regarding the mapping of your key. So if you want to use the space key, you need to tap UI accept, for example, or UI select as well. That's fine. So here we're gonna use the right arrow, and we're gonna also say minus, and we're gonna make input dot get action strength, and this time we're gonna use the UI left, and so like this we will have our input that will be mapped. Now we need to create a condition, and that condition gonna be that if movement dot x is how to say that exclamation mark equal 0. So basically this like it's either like you can consider that it's either negative or absolutely not 0. So basically if it's moving, that's what it means. We're gonna say 2 point a column or semicolon, I think you call that in English. We're gonna say that velocity, so we are like making reference to our variable here. We're gonna say that velocity dot x, so the horizontal axis, is plus equal movement dot x multiply by speed and multiply by delta. Okay, so delta here is making reference to the delta that we have in the physics process delta, and so this means basically that this function gonna check 60 times per second that this is activated or not, that is triggered or not. That's basically what it means. And so now we need another stuff for having our code that works well. We need velocity dot x is equal to clamp. Thank you Artbeast for that function because it was very handy. Velocity dot x, and here we're gonna say that it is minus max speed, which we haven't created yet, and max speed. Okay, and so we're gonna create max speed. That's gonna be just under speed, so like that will make sense. So max speed, and we're gonna say that max speed is gonna be equal to 150. That's gonna be alright. Okay, so now we have our player that can move. Fine. Oh, I forgot underscore here. Okay. So now we need a last thing. We need to have a function that is called move and slide that ends up that function. And I say it's a function because it is, but it looks more like a parameters. But basically, you're gonna say move and slide, and you have like 3 of them. You have move and slide, move and collide, and move and slide with snap. Here for now we're going to use move and slide, and we're going to say move and slide is equal to velocity, so we are calling back vector 2.0, and here we're just going to say that velocity is equal to move and slide. So like this it will be giving some nice things. Last things we have to do is to create gravity. So we already have created gravity right here, but now we need to call it. And for calling it, we have a very good function in Godot that is called if. So if it's called is on floor, we're gonna use this one, and we're gonna say that if is on floor, if movement x is double equal to 0, we're gonna say that velocity dot x is equal to lup, and then we're gonna say velocity dot x 0, and here we're gonna call create a friction things, and so here I'm just gonna call I'm gonna create that variable which is gonna be friction, and I'm gonna set it up to 105. And so I need just to put an indent here. I just need to put the columns here. Okay, so this is good, but we still need to call our gravity. So what we're gonna do is, like, basically just before velocity we're gonna say that velocity dot y is plus equal gravity time delta. So like that, it will be taking our gravity and it will be multiplying it by the delta of the game, so 60 frames per second. And finally, we need to also code some other stuff. I think already this, if I start it now, it's gonna work. So let's see. Yeah, we have our player, we can move it, and that's fine. But we can't jump for now. The friction is not high enough, so I'm just gonna create a bit more friction. I'm gonna put it at 1, I think. Let's see how it does. Nah, it's not working, so the friction is not working, so I'm just gonna put it at 0.5, and I'm gonna continue with the things. I think I've messed something in the code, so let's see. What I'm gonna do for now, I'm just gonna create the jump function as I am in the isOnFloor function. So I'm gonna say if input is action just pressed, and I'm gonna use a UI accept. I'm gonna put colons here. I'm gonna say velocity dot y is equal jump, and we haven't created jump, so I'm gonna call it now. I'm gonna create it. Jump is equal to I'm gonna say 400. Let's see how it works. So it's gonna be equal to jump, or minus equal maybe to jump, I don't know, we'll see. And then we're gonna add another stuff, else. So we're gonna put it here, else. As we have all of this, we're gonna say that if movement.x is equal to 0, we're gonna say that velocity.y is equal to lerp, and here we're gonna call velocity dot x, or it's x or y? No, it's x, x, and we're gonna say 0, and here I'm gonna create another variable that's gonna be called resistance. So var resistance, and it's gonna be equal to 0.7. Okay, and so here I missed this here because I use the function, so la velocity resistance. Why are you in red? Ah, it's because of the indentation, obviously. Okay, so as I have created the jump function, as our vector2 is 0, I need to call it in the move and slide. So I'm gonna say vector2 dot up, and I always can't remember if it has to be minus equal or equal minus. I don't know, so let's see. Yeah, my character is jumping, so I've made it right. Perfect, because basically when you jump, you are subtracting pixel on the y-axis. So that's the thing, that's why it's important. Okay, I'm just gonna lower my jump because it's a big ass jump, and I'm gonna start it again just to see. Yeah, this one is a little bit small. I'm gonna put it at, let's say, to 70. Let's say this one, and so let's see. This one looks better, so I can reach stuff. It's even too easy, and now I have the lerp that is functioning super well. But I have a problem, is that when I move my character doesn't flip on the other side. So for making it more clear, let me do something else. I'm gonna create a camera. It's gonna be attached on the level. You can attach a camera on the level, or you can also attach it on the player. That's up to you. Me, I prefer to do it like this because it gives me more control. So I'm gonna go here, at least maybe I'm gonna go here, something. No, I'm gonna go here for now. I'm gonna put it like this, and I'm just gonna go in zoom, and I'm gonna say .5 and .5. So I'm just gonna replace it nicely. .5 is maybe a bit too much, so let's say 2.7. Let's like that. Yeah, it looks a bit better. So now if I play the game, it doesn't make a big change. Why is not making a change? God damn, what is happening? Current, obviously. That was why. Voila. That's a bit better. So you can see that when I move my character, it doesn't flip. And for that, we're gonna call a function that you have in the player sprite sheet. It is right here. And basically, here, I'm just gonna rename it. I'm gonna call it sprite because it's too complicated like this. And here in offset, you have that function. I'm gonna just zoom for you to see it. You're gonna have that function that is flip H. So you just click on flip H and it activates the flip, and you can do it on the vertical axis as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna call that function inside the code, and for doing that we're gonna use a specific type of variable that is onReady var. Onready here is making reference to something that already exists in the tree of our scene. If they were like not that sprite in that scene, onReady var will not work. But like we have it here, it works. So we're gonna give it a name, and we're gonna say sprite with no capital letters, and we're gonna say is equal to $, and we're gonna say sprite. And so like this, it's gonna call that object, that is the sprite object, and we're gonna give it a name. And by giving it a name, we're gonna make we're gonna make it able to be used in the code. Is it making sense? I hope so. Sorry if I've made some mistake in English. Okay, so now we need to use that stuff, but how? Basically, it's very simple. We go to our function right here, and we're gonna call it just after clamp. We're gonna say sprite dot flip h is equal to movement underscore x, and we're gonna say that it has to be negative at 0. So when it's negative, it goes to the left. Basically, that's what it means. I have created a typo, obviously, and now it works. Here, if you had named that sprite, if you have named it another way, like if you had named it like chicken curry, for example, you will call it chicken curry here, and of course you will call it chicken curry here as well, and that will work. But as we have made it sprite, we're gonna call it sprite. That's how it works. And so now, if we are loading the game, I save everything seems to work well. If I load the game, what I've done? But yeah, of course, I haven't put flip H. Here it is. So now I relaunch the game. And so if I do that, you can see that my character can flip, and so that's great. But now we need to also call animation, and that's what we're gonna do now. Okay, so now for calling the animation, we need to create the animation, and to create the animation we need another node into our scene of the player. So we go to the player, we click on plus, and we're gonna use an animation player, which is where it is here. Okay, we click on create, and now we're gonna go on animation, and basically we're gonna use three different type of animation for now. We're gonna have the first one is gonna be idle. We click on animation, then new, and we're gonna add run. We click on animation and then new, and we go for jump. And so now in that little menu, we can create or animation. So I'm gonna go on idle, and what I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna go back on Sprite, and here on Sprite you have this part of the inspector menu that is called animation. I'm just gonna close offset. Animation, you have vertical frame, horizontal frame, frame. That's what we are interested here. We need to have that frame, and we need to basically key those frames to create our animation. Here you have that key, and when you click on it, it's gonna create a new tracks where the animation gonna be stored. So we click on create. Here it happens. It happens. It occurs. I don't know. It shows up, let's say. And so I'm just augmenting the size of what I can see with that little slide bar here. And so we have our first frame of the animation that is key, but we need to have some others. And the first time you need to always make it manually, like this. So you go to 0.1 and you click, and you make sure that this bar is here. And now we're gonna go on frame. We're gonna just go to the next frame right here, and we're gonna key it. And now Godot gonna make it automatically. We're gonna do it like this and like this. And because we have 4 animation in that here on the that tracks, you can see that it stopped at 0.4. What we're gonna do is that here we're gonna say .4, and it's gonna stop here, and we're gonna make it loop. So like that, it will be like looping automatically. And if we go in the animation player now, I'm just gonna zoom here. I go here in current animation, and I go to idle. And now I have my animation that shows, so that's great. So now I'm just gonna put it on stop, and I'm gonna create the rest of the animation. I'm gonna create run animation because it's the following in the sprite sheet. So let's make our life simple. And so I'm gonna look for it. So it's the 4th one. So I'm gonna go back on 0. I'm gonna click on the key icon. I'm gonna click on create. I'm gonna go on 0.1 manually, and now I'm just gonna go to the next frame. I'm gonna key it, and I'm gonna continue to key it until it's all right. Okay, so now this is good, but we have a little problems. Is that when we go, so I'm gonna just save it, and when we go back to our animation, you can see that the collision shape is not following the animation. And so we can do the same actually with the collision shape. We can set it up, and so what we're gonna do is like here it's all right, but here it's not. So we're gonna click on the collision shape. Here we're gonna go on transform, and here we're just gonna adjust the collision shape at our character like that, and I'm gonna key it. I'm gonna create a tracks for the collision shape as well. And so now I can just make sure that we have our collision shape that is following the player. And that is great because it makes things very, very easy. So now like this, it's not absolutely not good here. So we just go there, we key the collision shape, we go here, it's absolutely not good. So we go here, just little up like that, and like that. Okay, this is working. And so if I'm going back to, so I'm saving, I'm going back to my animation player, and I make sure that everything is all right. You can see that it's all right. And now we're gonna make the jump animation. And the jump animation, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it very, very, very simple. We're gonna go back on Sprite, and we're gonna just take that frame, and that's gonna be it. So I'm gonna go back on 0, and I'm gonna key that frame. And I'm gonna go as well on the collision shape, and I'm gonna make sure that everything is fitting perfectly too. So I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna make it here. I'm gonna create a new track, and that's gonna be good. And because there's only one animation, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just say .1, because here on that gray rulers here, you can see that the animation stop at 0.1. So that's what we do. And so like that we have our animation, and now we need to call them in our code. And so the same way we have done it with the sprite, we're gonna say that onReady var animation player, so we're gonna call it anim, is equal to $animation player. And now we're gonna call those animation at each moment of at each section of our code. So here we're gonna say that anim.play is equal to run, because here we are running. And then here what we're gonna say is that basically here, like it's equal, the velocity.x is equal to 0, we're gonna say that anim.play is equal to idle. Then here, because we are jumping, you see where I'm going, we're gonna say anim.play, and it's gonna be equal to jump. And I think it can be alright. Here I'm gonna call, I don't know if I'm creating another animation. Let's see. So I'm gonna create another animation and I'm gonna call it fall. Voila. And here I'm just gonna go back on my sprite and I'm gonna take the other one. So I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna key it. Okay. No, I don't want to use basic curve. I'm gonna say .1. I just want to say to see something. Maybe it's something that I will use in the next video or something, because the video now is quite long. So, but yeah, let's see. So I'm going on player. I click on the script, and here I'm gonna say, because I'm on the air normally, movement y is equal 0. I'm gonna say I think I'm gonna rename this one y, because I think I've made a mistake. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna see. I'm gonna say that anim.play is equal to fall. Oh no, I'm sorry. Like, so movement x is equal to 0. That's fine. That works fine. So yes, and it's here maybe that the velocity needs to be maybe at y. Let's see what it does. Okay, that's funny. That creates a funny effect. Okay, so there is, like, I've changed something that was wrong, so I'm gonna call it x, and so now it should be better. Let's see. Yeah, now it's better. So now I can jump, and I can go, and my character is animated. It go in the right direction. I can jump. The animation jump doesn't work. I think there is something that I've missed here, so I will correct that in the next video. In the next video as well, we're gonna see how we're gonna be able to create some stuff. I'm just gonna add something here because I want to add something. I'm gonna go back on levels. I'm just gonna look for parallax background. Parallax background, just right here, and I'm gonna add a sprite to it. Okay. And so basically now what I'm gonna do is, like, I'm just gonna bring a background here, because it's quite boring and sad, and so I want to have something that is looking actually nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go back on my game. So where is this? I'm gonna take this one where it is. It is in props, if I remember well. Yeah, it's there, background. And I'm just gonna copy one of the background that I have. It's not this one, it's that one. I'm just gonna copy it, and I'm gonna actually I don't use it in black owl, so I'm gonna put it here. And so like that, I have my sprite. I'm just gonna go here on my sprite, and I drag it on empty, and so now I have a nice little background. Like, I'm just gonna rescale it, and I'm gonna say no, not .5 because it's too small, .8 and .8, and I'm just gonna move it like this. I'm saving, and so now if I click play, I have a little background, and it looks already a little bit better. So, and now in the next video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically create so interactables item that we can pick up, like coins or some other stuff. We're gonna create as well some platform that's gonna break when we're gonna pass on it. We're gonna also create some moving platform and stuff. So stay tuned. Subscribe to that video, to that channel if you haven't yet. Like that video. Click on the bell so like that you will be notified. And I see you next time. Thank you for watching and see you.